Are you well?
Yeah,
Because he just ice picks the whole driveway with a flathead screwdriver.
I got it. What was I supposed to do? I guess
Use a shovel.
I did use a shovel, but shovel wasn't getting under the ice chunks.
Okay,
It was like about half inch or so.
we're coming out of the southern tundra.
Yeah, it needed to be done a couple days ago. It's warmer now. What is it, 40 something degrees, 45
I
degrees?
guess I don't really know, honey.
And I almost slipped going out to the car this morning.
Oh, I
So
would have paid big money to see that.
yeah,
I would have paid big money to see that.
well, yeah. I'm, it wasn't supposed to feel like a CrossFit workout
Yet here we are.
or a workout really at all. But I was dripping. So uh, not in that good shape no more.
Hey, babe,
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
it's healthy.
My hair looks good though.
Okay, so this is what I want to talk about because I think this is so powerful. So just to give you guys context, we're just doing normal life, right? Like we have to go pick up our third born in an hour from her little preschool she goes to. I had a meeting this morning. Austin dropped off our son at school, went to a men's Bible study.
BA dads.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
on,
Tuesday,
on the way home,
7:30.
oh my gosh, honey, it's good. No,
Come join us.
so a few days ago, Austin and I were talking about hills and valleys and just the emotions and things that come with difficult seasons versus, really easy seasons or, successful seasons, however you want to define that. And after Bible study today, they talked about a topic that kind of hit close to home for him. And I just thought it was worth jumping on and sharing because I think it's so powerful. But I'll kind of segue it and then let Austin talk about it. But, you know, it's the dead of winter. We've been trapped in our house for about a week. Um, Austin's job is very seasonal. So there's, a 9-month period where he may work, away from the city we live in. And then there's several months where he's typically home. And that can feel challenging for him on with a lot of layers. One, because we sort of carry the belief, and this is specifically true for Austin, that men are really happiest when they're busy, when they're producing, when they're working, when they're feeling fulfilled and like they're walking out their calling as providers. And also, he's like a puppy, like the ADHD puppy. Like puppies are most happy when they're tired. Same is true here. Like too much idle time is like not great for him. And so I could tell that he wasn't feeling great. And I could tell because he has similar tendencies, which are to withdraw, to sort of disassociate, typically spends more time in his phone than would be normal. Typically, he's not like a go-getter. He kind of loses that ability. He's like a little less engaged with our kids. He's a little less engaged with me. And I could just tell that he was there. And I wasn't surprised by it because it happens. It happens to all of us. And so he and I just shared a conversation together. And then the Bible study happened today. So I'm going to let you take it over. Either what that conversation looked like with you and I actually sitting in this exact spot a few days ago, and then what happened today.
Okay, well, the conversation we had was basically you calling it out, basically just asking me questions about what are you feeling? Why are you feeling this way? And I just shared what I was feeling, felt like I was a bad provider, didn't feel driven to really do anything, don't really care, just like kind of just stuck and not really motivated. Kind of like, what's the point? Why work so hard? It's not going to change anything, kind of thing. And then I wasn't really planning on going to Bible study until like I woke up this morning, got up a little earlier, been trying to read the Bible, doing this like read the Bible in a year. So you read a couple passages, it's all laid out for you. But anyways, I went through that, and then I felt like I remember Tuesdays they have men's Bible study. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to it. So I got kind of dressed for that because normally I just wear slippers and sweats and just take out of school and come back. But anyways, so I got all dappered up and went to the Bible study after I dropped Putty off. They just have it there in the chapel of BA. And the topic was suffering. And I was like, oh, of course, why would this not
He
be?
never misses.
No, it really doesn't. So yeah, we just kind of talked about, I don't know, probably like 7 different little passages about suffering, and we could share if you want. And he brought up suffering, and he's like, how do you guys feel about it? What do you guys think about it? And I said it's not fun, and I don't really like staying there, and I really like to get through it quickly. But he said to, in one of the passages, it says, it's almost like a blessing, and that you should find joy in suffering. And we all just kind of looked around at each other, kind of started laughing because it's not. I don't usually go to joy when I am suffering or struggling. I definitely do kind of the exact opposite, which is either feel sorry for myself, withdraw, all the things you mentioned earlier. I don't really handle it very well, like I'd maybe like to. So yeah, it was just a good reminder today. Like, okay, I choose joy. See, suffering as a blessing. And I think for a lot of us, when you're in the valley, you're in suffering, you tend to not really. You see it for what it is. You're right there in the moment. You don't actually look beyond the suffering or what potentially that suffering is going to bring you. Which anytime you guys have walked through some hard, difficult seasons, or it doesn't even have to be a season, a day or whatever. Usually, you can look back and be like, okay, wow, like it really was a blessing, or without suffering really did shape me or help me grow in my character in a certain way. But I think that's hard to grasp and see that suffering is a blessing and you can find joy in that. And then one other guy shared, his name's Brent. I really like him. He's brings a lot of like perspective and kind of starts to connect the dots a little bit for like some of the topics. But anyways, he mentioned, yeah, suffering's not great. We hate it, don't like it while we're in it, but we are to try to find joy. And so to link those two, he mentions it's our obedience in like pushing through and enduring through those valleys. And yeah, I think it's a big thing to think about. It's like, okay, well, how am I handling this? What am I showing my family and my wife? When you're kind of struggling.
Well, I think it's so powerful because the bridge from, the valley to the mountaintop is not meant to live in isolation. It's just not. And one thing that Austin, or you said to me this morning was, I actually prolonged the suffering by not talking about it,
Yeah,
by not communicating it, by not addressing it, by just withdrawing with it alone. And if y'all have ever read Hind's Feet on High Places, my buddies that know me well will be like, dude, she preaches this book. I do, because it is so wonderful. But basically, it's the same principle as Much Afraid, who is, the main character in Hind's Feet on High Places, that she takes her suffering, she takes her loneliness, she takes these companions with her as she travels up the mountain. And that's essentially what you're doing. It's like, all right, I'm feeling myself in the valley of suffering. And let me identify this, let me be clear. Most of our suffering in North America is very first world problems. I want to be very clear about that. And that's not always true. We don't have sick children. We don't have, sick family members. I want to be clear about the reference of suffering, difficulty. Yeah. Struggle, maybe suffering. that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but basically the process or the method in this is, how do I share and how do I not stay in this valley of suffering as my companion and use, resentment or feeling sorry for myself or anger or fear or loneliness as my companions to stay there. But how do I communicate to my village, to my community, to my friends, to my spouse, to my small group? I'm really struggling. How can I walk out of this in a way? Um,
Station.
you guys, she never misses.
Dave, you missed us. You must have heard us.
Sis,
We love
one
you,
of the
Dash.
best. She's just my girl, dude. She just is the best. Um, so that being said, I just think it's a really powerful reminder that in Austin's willingness to say, this is how I'm feeling. And in my willingness as a wife to say, I see that you're not okay. Like lovingly, let me call out the places that I see and I want you to be well in and I want you to be whole, because Austin's Valley creates a valley for Annie, for Hudson, for Capri, and for Palmer. And so that willingness to do that, sets him up in a place to acknowledge it, to identify it, and then to move out of it. And, in that conversation that he and I had prior to meeting at the men's small group, one of the things we talked about is, and I want you to know this, I'm saying this like with so much intention, is that you are not responsible for the fleeing thoughts that come into your heart and mind. It's very hard to control that. What you are responsible for is what you do with those thoughts. That is the golden piece right there, is what am I going to do with this feeling of insufficiency? What am I going to do with the fear? What am I going to do with, the, depression even that I'm feeling, the sadness that I'm feeling? What kinds of things, what activities, what habits, what practices do I know help me not stay in the valley? What are those things? And how can I do them? How can I set myself up with accountability to do them?
Well, I want to come back to a point on that, but just to piggyback on what you were saying, like the suffering, I tend to withdraw and get stuck for days and wallow and all of that. And I didn't come to you. You again, like every time, will come to me and draw it out. So, you mentioned that, I want you to feel those things, and then I want you to work on trying to come to me first, versus you always having to basically, slap me around a little bit. Like wake up, what's going on. So I am going to try to work on on being better with that, with the suffering, going and trying to talk to somebody, or just speaking it out will allow you to climb out of the valley a little bit sooner. But I do feel like for men, it's definitely more difficult to sort of talk about it. I feel like we want to like just put it on our shoulders and just carry it around and deal with it, and not bring anybody else into it. Um, but to me, it just keeps me stuck there longer.
Totally. Meant to live in isolation.
Yeah.
We're meant to live as good community members, as being part of a tribe of people who are saying, help me bear this burden. Like if one of your guy friends came to you and said, I'm really struggling, would you feel frustrated or would you feel honored that they trusted you to come with that?
Yeah, I'd feel honored. But it's just weird, like I told you this morning, like just go into that small group in particular, and with me struggling a few days earlier, and then go in there and hearing other people say sort of some things that they're kind of struggling with, like in a, I guess in a weird, I don't know if this is like the right way to feel about it or not. Like I felt good about it in a sense. Like not, I didn't feel
relieved,
I guess relieved. I didn't feel good or like
delighting in their suffering.
that they were people going through struggles and going through hard things. But I think I was relieved knowing that I'm not the only one. And I feel like I don't know if anybody else out there feels like this, but like, I feel like if something bad happens, says I'm the only one going through it. It's always me, and so just to go around other men or the other people that are, also kind of still going through the same similar things
Mhm.
or have gone through it. It
Mhm.
just, I guess I'm just relieved, like, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
Everyone's going through something at some point. Like, I felt relieved, I guess is a better word. Just
Well, I think, I mean, what world are you living in that you genuinely think that you're the only man who struggles with those kinds of feelings?
I don't know.
And have you played a part in creating that thought process because you don't actively seek out other relationships, or men's small groups are new for you, or that you're really only looking at people's highlight reels on Instagram? Or like, what part have you played in that, would you say? Or maybe none, maybe you're
Well,
like, I.
I mean, outside of trying to go to those, when I can, I don't really have really anybody that I would reach out and talk to,
Mhm.
which is probably not good. Besides you, in which you're my best friend. So I mean, but
You're my only friend.
yeah, you're my best friend. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I could probably be better at that. Just having a couple guys, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. I could probably call quite a few guys
Yes.
and just say, hey, I'm struggling with this or that, and
Right.
but I just don't. I don't
Let
do.
me just like stand on my TED talk here for 1 second, if y'all will just give me the privilege of this. I feel really strongly about this because I know how my life is so drastically better because of the people that are in it. If you want a friend like that, you have to be a friend like that. I would say 9 out of the 10 of my closest girlfriends who I confide the most difficult, hardest, most vulnerable things with are not because I just, popped up one day and did this. It's because I came to them and we built a foundation of, is this a safe place to say the hard things? Is this a safe place where I'm not going to be judged? Where, you're not going to, hate my husband because I told you about how long and loud he snores? Is this a safe place to, talk about the difficult, really vulnerable places of my life? You get that by being that. So I want to be clear about that. Like, I love my husband dearly, but he has not done a good job at pursuing those kinds of relationships. That might be just because he's a man, and I don't know if men value that in the same way as women do, but it doesn't fall out of thin air. You have to be that, and you have to set a precedent in other relationships if that's valuable to you. TED talking over. People would pay for a TED talk like that, Steph. That to say is I just think it was a really cool moment and a just really cool opportunity to jump on and encourage a few things. One, there are going to be valleys in your life, no questions asked. There's just going to be. There's also going to be mountaintops, and we never want to take for granted the opportunity that the valley allows us. If you only choose to wallow, if you only choose to feel sorry for yourself, you will never grow in the valleys. And the valley really is a gift. If you can frame it that way, like with teeth gritted, if you can frame it that way, like, I don't like being here, but what can I learn? I don't like being here. How can I grow? I don't like being here, but I want to be different. I want the valley to look different next time. Take it because it's a gift. It really is. But you'll waste it if you wallow.
Yeah, and I think I just thought of this, like, for all of you guys out there, like, if you are looking for somebody or somebody to share information with, like, talk about things, whatever you're going through, like, we're available.
Always.
Like, jump on school, hop in there. I mean,
Yeah, you're
share
not
that,
alone, definitely.
get that off your chest, share it,
Mhm.
and don't feel bad for doing that because we want to see you walk out of the valley hopefully you can learn, not hopefully, but you will learn something from it, and
Mhm.
think of it as more of a teaching moment. Like, what is this valley trying to teach me? I don't really want to come back here again. Um, but what is it teaching me? What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it?
100%.
Um, and yeah,
You guys are awesome. We're gonna have our like 14th espresso of the day. I go pick up our whirlwind of a third born. Send our second born off to her very first dance ever.
mm,
Keep stacking, friends.